welcome back to the Key and Jay Books podcast. I'm your co-host Jay, along with my co-host Key, and today we'll be covering Ladarrion Williams' At The Crossroads, chapters 26 through 30.
Yes, sir.
Spoiler alert, this is an adult podcast where we kind of say adult things. It's not typically rated R, but I would give it a TVMA rating for this podcast.
Absolutely.
And this is a spoiler podcast. So if you haven't read the book or kept up with the chapters, please go ahead and read those before coming here, unless you want the book spoiled for you. Key, how was your week? How's everything going?
My week was really, really good, Jay. Thank you so much for asking. Work was good. I had a nice, relaxing weekend. What about you, sir?
It's always busy. But this week it wasn't busy. Took some time off of work.
Good.
Kind of
Good
just
for you.
to mellow the mind. Other than that, really just was chilling this week. Couldn't wait to get here and record because I am going to talk about a couple of discrepancies with the book as far as like this second act of the book, and hopefully the third act picks up. But we start with chapter 20. Nominees are getting schooled on basically the ball, how to act, like one of those ballroom dances that the father, son, daughter dances, that they be actually teaching them how to dance and pick up forks, which utensils to use. So the gang, everybody that's been nominated for homecoming is taking these etiquette classes on how to do all the things I just spoke about. What did you think about the chapter? Because that was basically it with this chapter, as they learning from Terrence's mom.
It. Yep. They learned from Terrence's mom. They pulled up some pictures of the past homecoming royals courts just so they could see some examples, and they welcomed them into a part of history, and they taught them dance lessons. Something that I did notice, there was a teacher that was helping her. I think their name is Professor Christopher, and Savon was getting mad because they felt like Christopher was not respecting their pronouns, because they kept referring to the male presenting people in the room as gentlemen. And, you know, Savon is non-binary, which means they are neither male nor female. So that was disrespecting to Savon, and Savon does not play that ever. Savon always advocates for themselves in each and every circumstance. So that was the one thing I said. I did also wonder why they were learning cutlery and silverware and knives. This scene kind of reminds me of Goblet of Fire with Harry Potter, when you remember Harry was one of the nominees and he had to learn how to dance. You know, because just like, okay, you've been nominated, but I just was confused why they need to learn how to hold the forks and stuff properly. Like, I didn't, but maybe that's something that we'll see. They have to go to some fancy dinner or something, and they have to learn that. But that was the one thing I'm like, yeah, it makes sense they're going to be dancing, but they also were being taught like how to fold the napkin and eat the silverware, and what spoon and fork to hold in which hand and stuff like that.
Understood. I felt like, you know, they probably going, which fork to use on what food you eating is important to them. I'm like, I don't think they're going to use a spoon for a salad. Like, you know, like what salad do you use for the man? I mean, I'll eat lettuce with my hands before I worry about. You said you needed to laugh, right?
Like, you know, there's a salad fork and then there's a dinner fork, but there's different forks for each thing. So they were learning that. And after they get done with that, Malik does a spell because he still wants to
he just transitions back to his room.
Yes.
I'll just say it now. I didn't like the way that these chapters kind of, the second act is not really the best act, and the jump cuts and how they jump from scene to scene. I hope it all comes together. I hope Ladarrion makes it all come together, but I was like kind of lost with the, you know, the skipping and the transitions of moving from here to here. Cause like you say, they're dancing and they're learning about being in etiquette class, and then they go to Malik's room.
Yeah, I felt the same way, Jay. That's something that I commented on our last episode of this podcast, was the transitions are a little bit choppy. Malik will be in one place and he'll just wake up somewhere else. It doesn't tell how he got there, what time he got there, why he's there. And it just jumps from scene to scene. And it was just kind of like, I do wish that it wasn't so choppy, because it was kind of confusing. I was like, wait. Wasn't he just here and now he's there? Like, is that significant that he, like, you know, I was just confused. And I feel like just even if he added something like, as Malik teleported, just even that, so we know he got from one place to the other, instead of just he's here, the next chapter he's somewhere else with no explanation of how he got there. So I agree with you on that.
Right. But yeah, what happens when he goes to sleep, he casts a projection of something that he learned from Dr. Aquila, and it sends him into like what his mother's doing. I guess he's like in the, like, you know, ghost type, not ghost, but he just has like this cloud. He can see what she's doing, and a familiar voice comes through. How did you feel about your girl Alexis making her debut in the book?
It was like about time, and then I immediately was frustrated because we still don't get that much. We just know that she's working with Malik's mom, and she does say something interesting. She says, "Please don't think that we're on the same team. I'm only helping you because you have something that I have." So it makes me wonder, how did Alexis start working with Malik's mom? Because remember, the last book was she was supposed to have her memories wiped. And we don't even know. I mean, of course, Alexis is being reintroduced. We knew that she was going to come back, but I am so curious to hear about what happened with her because she's been my favorite character. She's finally back, but we still don't
know nothing.
And I would say
Ladarrion is
this
keeping
too,
it tight.
Malik has been doing this projection spell many, many times in the book where he projects into his mom's mind or sees where she's at. But something that I found, I don't know if this is a plot hole or not, but do you notice every time he does this spell, it's always a different spell with the same exact outcome? He has done like 3 different spells to do the exact same thing, to get into astral projection to see his mom. And I feel like if this is something that they do, why does it change every single time he does it? And then it was like he's using cayenne pepper. I was like, is this cooking class? Like, you know, it just like I said, I absolutely am enjoying this book, but there gets to a point where it does seem to get a little bit too complicated. Like, we don't need cooking ingredients with magic. They have magic. Why are they using cayenne pepper? And that was something that I noticed, that he's doing projection, something that I thought Tatuba told him not to do.
Right.
But he's doing it again, and he's using a completely different spell. I'm like, what happened to the spell you used the first 2 times? Why are you using cayenne pepper now? But I was excited to get to see Alexis. Y'all know I've been preaching from the very beginning. That's my girl. And she's back. We just don't know in what capacity she's back or what she is doing with Malik's mom yet. So
I got you, which takes us into chapter 27. It's tight with Alexis. It's like he's working with the ops, and he leaves school, like he just transfers. Well, he transitions back to Mama Aya's house, right? He's walking. Just think about a pissed off Malik walking through the grass, trying to go into the crib, and he sees Uncle John Henry,
who's been missing for several chapters, mind you. I was like, where the hell has he been? But yes, he sees Uncle John Henry again. Yep.
And he says, "You're walking like you got the weight of the world on your shoulder." He also senses Malik has a broken heart and says, and Malik is kind of like, man, whatever. And he says, "You really don't like me, huh?" And then he shoots him a look like, "Get over here now. Like, come over here." Because first time Malik's like, "What you want?" He's like, he got to give him a look. And Malik's like, "All right, man, I'm going to go over there and talk to him." So he says, this land is protected by their mother. Not Lorraine, but Mama Aya and John Henry's mom. The land is protected by it. He's teaching them a lesson. Like, he's like about bottling up his anger and, letting that out. Cause he's like, you're going to let it out one way or another. Like, and it might not be in a good way, as he's thinking about Alexis. And then he touches John Henry. I'm assuming they kind of cross paths with touching, and he sees a woman look like she was screaming in pain. And he pushes Malik away and tells Malik, "You have no right, to be in my memories." And they have it out about Mama Aya, and they have a bit of a fight.
Yeah, they do. They have a bit of a fight. I will say, I understand Malik's frustration because I don't really like John Henry. I don't like, he's just coming around. I don't like, what is your purpose? You're just here randomly planting in the garden. You weren't here when she was alive. She never even mentioned having a brother. And now you're coming around. Oh, you got a broken heart. I don't have to talk to you. You're not my dad. That's how I felt. Even though Malik shouldn't have, squared up with him like that, but I could understand. And then John Henry snapping at Malik, like, you didn't have to touch him. He doesn't want to be around you. You want to be around him. Malik is not trying to get into your memories, like, at all. Your Mama Aya gave the power to somebody who doesn't even know to respect it. I'm like, he didn't do it intentionally. That's just what happens.
He didn't ask for that.
He didn't ask for it. And Malik says that in this chapter. I feel like all of his frustration absolutely boiled over. He says, I didn't ask for this. He's upset about Alexis. And they start fighting. He actually wounds Uncle John Henry in his Nunda form. He turns to his Nunda form. He cracks his leg. And Bridget and Uncle Barron are at the house, and they're like, Malik, stop. He's getting angrier and angrier. And then Tay gets in the way. And in a fit of anger, Malik pushes Tay away, and he gets slammed into a tree.
And I was like, my God.
I'm telling you, I don't think Malik would do that. I know that he's angry, but he has been so cautious to not, like, and there's been several times where he could have lost his cool and he hasn't. So I was just like, damn, he really, really must have been upset. So yeah, he hurt Tay. Tay was upset, and now Uncle Barron is like, you need to leave. And again, I just be thinking, this is my damn house. How y'all gonna tell me to leave? And maybe that's the petty in me, but I'm like, Barron, don't you have something in the underworld to be taking care of? You too, Bridget. This is my damn house, and y'all gonna tell me to leave? One. And then two, I'm not saying it was right for him to hurt Tay, but do you see how Uncle Barron and Auntie Bridget, they did not approach Malik. They screamed at him from the porch. Stop. Tay ran while Malik is in the midst of doing his magic. You know what I mean? It wasn't like Malik lashed out. He's already magicked up, and he's angry. And again, I'm not blaming Tay, but Tay was upset. And I feel like, he had the right to be. He was hurt. He was like, oh, you said you would never hurt me. Get away from me. And I'm just like, and Tay is my guy. I'm Team Malik right now. And I'm just like, nobody told you to get in the middle of a magic fight. You don't have magic. You don't have any protection. I don't know why you would run full-fledged in the middle and you see his magic flaring. That's how accidents happen. He would have never meant to hurt you. Never. But I understand Tay is upset, and they tell Malik that he needs to leave, and he goes back to campus.
And that's what he does. As he leaves, he says, apologizes to John Henry, and he dips out, which takes us into chapter 28, because in 27, I feel like Malik put the vagina on a pedestal. That's why he was mad. That's just my personal feeling. I think he was hurt over his lover, his first.
He's hurt. His lover, his jilted lover, who he really loved and cared about, is now working with his mother, who has destroyed his life in other ways. And so he's like, not only did you betray me, but now you're working with my mother, who also is evil. So it's opening up those wounds as he's trying to heal him. And now he finally gets a glimpse of her, and she's working with his mother. But like I said, I have faith in Alexis. She's going to betray the mom somehow, some way. She's going to get away. That's what I think is going to happen. So
this is what I don't like, though, because now we go into chapter 28, and where does he teleport to? The only person who he really supposedly just want to keep as friends.
Though, Jay, he just wakes up in her house. We have no idea how he got there.
I'm assuming. I'm assuming he teleported. It turns out in this front of her door.
Spent the night. Yeah, he spent the night at her door, but he wakes up in the morning. We don't get any transition to him going to her house. He just wakes up in her house. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, you good. He wake up at Dom's, right? And I'm like, bro, man up. She's a rebound. Man up, bro. Because why you run into her door, right? Stop, bro. Malik tells Dom about the accident with Tay and the fight with his uncle. Malik feels bad about what happened, and he's torn because he saw the look of fear on his little brother's eyes. And Malik's break down, but kind of turns away, like, I don't want you to see me crying. Still holding that bravado, that macho-ness. But Dom say, yo, you can cry in front of me, right? And Malik is like, I can't cry around you. He don't want to seem vulnerable. And she like, yo, you can always be vulnerable around me. This is why I love Dom. She's showing my son the love and care. But he's like, it was an accident. You know what I'm saying? She said it was an accident. Give it a couple days. You'll go by, you'll see him, but go see Dr. Davison. You know what I'm saying? And he was like, yeah, it's time to see Dr. Davison. It's time to see the
therapist. Yep.
So then he texts Tay in this whole chapter. He's kind of texting Tay, but he's getting no response. It's just read, and he feels like that's better than anything. At least he's reading it. He even sends him a picture of him in home ec class because he knows Tay loves to cook. Yep. And he's like, the best thing he can do right now is just at least he's reading it. He's saying, Malik also says that therapy is working, and is different from the norm. And Malik blabbers that he is holding the Tay situation, like he's holding that really against himself because he didn't want to hurt Tay, and he promised Tay that he would, take care of him. And the doctor asked him, why do you feel like Tay is important to him? And Malik explained that, he did everything for him, emancipating himself to get him away from Sonia and Mr. Caldwell because of how Trey was, being treated. And he feels like it's his responsibility to have Tay, experience a childhood that he never had. And he's playing this father figure instead of playing this brother figure. That's what Dr. Davison is telling him. Like, yo, you've been so focused on giving Tay you envision the childhood that you wanted, that you're projecting on Tay. You know what I'm saying? You're giving him everything that you think for yourself or what you wanted as a child, and you're projecting that on Tay. So I thought that, this therapy session that he was going through with Dr. Davison was real, opening for Malik. And I'm hoping that this can, break some trauma that Malik has.
Yeah, I half agree with what you said. I think what the therapist was saying to him, I don't want to say it was bullshit, but I feel like Baron already said the same thing. Like, Malik, you have to learn to be a kid. That has nothing to do with why he hurt Tay. He hurt Tay because he had bottled up anger. And I really wanted the therapist to talk about that. Like, what are you so angry about? Do you have outlets to get out your anger? Because again, like, he needs a healthy way to release that anger and that frustration. Thinking like, oh, I'm just a kid, that's not going to release the anger and frustration. But I am happy that he's taken a step in the right direction and talking to the therapist. And I'm glad that Ladarrion continues to champion for therapy. I really I like that. What else happened in this chapter? With Dom, I like that about Dom. I will say this I felt conflicted about it because Dom is 17, 18-year-old too, right? But the way Malik is written like a 17, 18-year-old kid, right? Dom is written like a 19 or 20-year-old woman to me. Like, the way she comforts him, the way she's like, you don't have to be worried. She's extremely mature. And not that that's a bad thing. I just feel like they're a little bit mismatched in my eyes because Malik is still dealing with a lot. And I love Malik and I love the young man that he's growing into, but he's so immature still. That's what I look at. She is so mature. You can tell she's just ready for this relationship. She's very comforting. I love her aura. She's very mothering. And I do really like Dom, but that's why I could see him with Alexis because they still have that fury that young adults have. Like, this world is not right. And, they're both a little bit hot-headed. And that's why I feel like he's more evenly matched with Alexis. But I did like Dom in this chapter, I guess. I told you I like Alexis. So I'm like, oh, Dom is sweet. And I am glad that, Malik did go to therapy. I felt bad about the whole thing with Tay not answering him. But I do think, and I don't know, that's why I said I feel so conflicted because I feel like Malik rescued you from being abused. He brought you here. You have a future. I don't want to say because of Malik, but if Malik did not come get you, where would you be right now? He made a mistake, yes. You got in the middle of a magic fight when you never should have gotten in the middle of that, and that's how I feel. And I'm not, because I know that Malik would never have meant to hurt Tay. He tried to apologize. And I just feel bad that, his brother Tay is the reason why he's even in this magic school, like, because he got a way to protect him and trying to do that. That's how he got introduced to this magic school. So I just feel sad. Malik is down bad right now. I feel sad. I feel sorry for my boy. Like, he's sad about his mom, Alexis, Tay, Baron and Samidi, Uncle John Henry, like Mama Aya. It's a lot going on. It's a lot on his shoulders right now.
And then as chapter 28 ends, we get to see Chancellor Terran walking behind Malik because Malik forgot something, a piece of paper upstairs. And as he was going to retrieve it, Chancellor Terran walks into Dr. Davison and says to him,
like, we need to continue talking about.
You need to continue talking about it, or it's time for him to come to terms with it. And he just walks in. So Malik is like, yo, what is the Chancellor doing talking to Dr. Davison? I can't wait to see, what that unfolds. But again, we leaving on that chapter with another cliffhanger. Actually walking into chapter 29 where Malik is volunteering for a Dunkin' booth at the homecoming fair, right?
Yep.
So they had like a little carnival for the homecoming fair, a little celebration, and Malik is in a dunk booth. They're trying to raise awareness, not money, but awareness, and they want to get votes. It's like campaigning for homecoming and Malik says, I could have started a kissing booth, and Dom kind of got in the girlfriend mode, like, no, you wasn't going to start kissing booth. You ain't even kiss me. You don't know what they got in the list, but here we go. My son D-Lo in the corner getting white and wild. Right? You know what I'm saying?
At the kissing booth. Yep.
At the kissing booth. And I was like, damn, so Savon ain't gonna really say, but they ain't gonna say nothing, so we ain't gonna say nothing,
Literally. And they're trying to champion for themselves and getting their name out there.
Exactly, getting their name out here.
I'm gonna be honest, my man would never be in a kissing booth. Never. There's a kissing booth on campus, and my man is like, yeah, I signed up. You signed up for what? Okay, and you signed up for the kissing booth, and I'm signing out of this damn relationship. How about that? That would be what I would have to say. And Savon is very possessive, so I was surprised that they were not more upset.
Right.
And I was like, they're trying to do everything that they can to get these votes. So, yep.
And then Malik, after they finish coming out of the kissing booth, she does a spell and kind of drives him off, and they're walking around, and Malik is like, telling her, like, I never had a funnel cake. And she's like, what? You never had a funnel cake? So I assume, like, as they're walking around on the fair, eating funnel cake, getting on rides, they basically talk about campaigning and what the other nominees are doing. That was really it. And they get on the ride, they looking into each other's eyes, and as they're on the ride, it just fast forwards again. We transition again. I'm like, the date is already over? Like, what happened? So we end up with Taryn and Malik because nothing else happened after that. Like, it
Yeah,
wasn't no
nothing else
big
happened. It was
deal.
like, oh, they're on the
Wasn't
ride. Oh,
nothing.
now Malik
And
is
then now
now
we switching.
following, Taryn,
So
and he
now
sees
he's
him.
talking with Taryn about his paintings and how fire it is. And that's when he talks to him about his father making the other paintings, Mr. Yusef Bonclair, which Terrence, that was the other paintings. And Malik's asked where he is, and he just says, my parents are divorced. He wanted to travel and see the world. The mother probably didn't, my opinion, the mother didn't want to relinquish power. And she wanted to stay in control. And he like, yo, you done did everything here at the school. Cause we found out that the Bonclairs have been running the school for over 100 years, over a century.
Yes, their
So he probably
legacies at
was
this
like,
point.
yo, like, let's do something else. Let's move around the world and travel. And she probably was like, nah, I want to stay. I want to stay up here. You know what I'm saying? I don't never want to leave my position until I'm damn near dead. And Turner Malik have a moment about his family. And, he says he wasn't always like this. We kind of seen like an outsider side of, Professor Chancellor Terran. And he's like, yo, Malik, I wasn't always stuck up, bro. You know what I'm saying? You know how mothers could be, kind of throwing the mother thing out there. And then he was like, he hasn't smiled, since his family was gone. And Malik actually goes into Terrence's mind, and he goes to him and Celeste there and talk about marrying her, where he kind of give her a proposal. And then they talk.
Let me pause. Let me stop you there.
Go ahead.
That was the proposal. Literally, they graduated. He said something like, I want you to marry me, Celeste. And she was like, are you proposing? He's like, yes, I am. He didn't get it down on one knee. It wasn't anything romantic. I was like, that is the proposal. That's the proposal.
That's the proposal.
Jay,
that's what we're going
that
with.
was the proposal.
That's
I
how
was
they
just like,
do it.
that was it. And then,
That was it.
again, this is really picky of me, but Malik says, tell me about Celeste. Okay. And Terrence's like, yeah, follow me. And he goes and shows him proposing to Celeste. What does that tell him about her? That tells him nothing. Like, I didn't understand that. Tell us more. Who was Celeste? How did y'all meet?
Right.
Him just, and this is like, again, this is just me being picky. I don't know. I just was like, that was it. And then the little vision he showed, like, that's how you propose to the woman that was the love of your life. You just say, I want to marry you. He didn't even get down on one knee, Jay. I was like, come on now.
He didn't get down on no knee at all. And then that was kind of like it. They talk about the memory, and that was really it. And we switch over to the Cayman T app, and we have so what is that? People on there are shading Savon and D-Lo, throwing out, you know how it is. Just picture Twitter going at, you know what I'm saying, like a binary, well, I'm about to say a binary, a LBGTQ couple that's going for homecoming, something that's never happened before. And, people are throwing comments, questioning D-Lo's his sexuality and saying, how could he pledge? How could the Jakutas, take somebody like that? And D-Lo is like, Malik is like, you good? And he like, yeah, man, these dudes just talking. He really want to go off, but if he go off, he be giving them exactly what they want.
Exactly.
So he like, yo, it's just time for a change. And just Malik gives him a big hug, and he's like, yo, what's this? He's like, yo, bro, I don't know. Like,
I don't know what to do. Just I'm trying to comfort you. Yeah.
And I thought that was dope. It shows
I did too. I love that.
their brotherhood, their broship is what I call it. Their broship. And I'm glad that they're not letting these nominees in this competition, affect their brotherhood. They literally can still be friends. Maybe not so much as Savon and Malik, because Savon still got a little.
This means more to Savon, I think, than it means to D-Lo, because they talked about this earlier in the book. The Jakutas are homophobic. They do not like feminine men, which is why they would never accept Savon. However, D-Lo is bisexual. He likes men, but he is a masculine presenting male, which is why they don't have a problem, with him being in it, but I just still think that it's something that D-Lo unfortunately has to go through with people questioning that still, and I just feel really bad for him. But that was my point. Like, D-Lo kind of can do kind of whatever he wants. He's still joining the Jakutas. He's still the cool guy on campus. This means more to Savon than I think it means to D-Lo, just like it means more to Dom than it does to Malik that they win. So I don't think he wants to do anything that compromises their win for Savon, because that's his person.
Yeah, that's true. I'm just happy that D-Lo is sticking by Savon. He ain't really,
of course,
leaving them. He got his back. He love it. He love his boo. And that was cool. Then we get into my favorite part about the second chapter. This is when the pimp, I call him the pimp, Dr. Davidson, lays the pimp game down on Malik. Say, we don't love them females. We don't love them females. You know what I'm saying? He tells Malik basically in the next therapy session that it's the heartbreak that he thinks Malik that was triggered and is the trigger for his outburst. And Doc say he's attached to her because of their past trauma, because they grew up, they shared magic, but were they really like lineage? I wouldn't even say lineage. Was they really linear in their relationship? He calls it, what is it?
Limerence.
Limerence is an obsession with someone and can be
I'm gonna tell you, I thought that was insane. I was like, he's not obsessed with her. I hated that. He was like, yeah, have you heard of limerence? I'm like, he definitely was not obsessed with her. He didn't seek her out. It's just, imagine him in this whole new place and he finds a piece of home in this girl that he was his best friend, was his confidant. He's never seen her again. They both connected, and then she betrayed him. He still pictures her as, you are part of the reason why Mama Aya is dead, because if you didn't do what you did, maybe Mama Aya would still be here. Which, I mean, we know that she wouldn't because she made that deal. Alexis's decision was part of what helped these people come in and attack them. That's a really big betrayal for Malik, especially his mom betrayed him, the love of his life betrayed him. So when Dr. Davidson is like, yeah, limerence is obsession, I was like, obsession? They're 17-year-old kids. This is young love. That is not obsession to me. That's why I said I don't trust this therapist.
I gotta agree with the therapist because, as he said, stage 1 is the crush. We know what crushing is on somebody. Stage 2 is obsession or infatuation. We know what those are. And
but why infatuation? Yes. Obsession? No. Obsession is like a negative, gives a negative connotation, Jay.
I feel like he's obsessed with Alexis, man.
He don't even
My
talk.
son
He
can't even get no buns.
He doesn't want to get
no honey.
buns.
But why?
He does not want to do that with Dom.
Why though?
Because he was betrayed by his first love. He's not jumping into something else. I'm telling you, I don't think it has anything to do with him being
how many college students you think? Alexis. How many college students, and be honest, how many college students, males, that you think if they had their heart broken, they would not have jumped on no buns in college?
I mean, I don't know. I didn't have sex in college. I mean, I'm a woman. I did not have sex in college. I surely did it. I did it. And, not because my heart was broken, but I mean, if I don't want to have sex, I don't want to have sex. No, I mean, and I was brought up very, very different. I was very, very sheltered. When I got to college, there was no way I was going to be out there freaking and, and again, you have to think Malik is not a typical guy. Look at D-Lo. D-Lo is also not out here being
D-Lo
fast.
been punishing cheeks since we got here.
Look at Elijah. Elijah also has had like one girl that he flirts with at all the parties, but he's not just out wild having sex with a bunch of people. So I don't think it's unusual. I just think, I think that he likes Dom, but he loved Alexis. It's a difference.
I feel like I went to college as a man. We was out here bunzing. First quarter, right?
Oh
sniping them. You feel me? If my heart got broken, I had something else, I'm taking her down. No Chris Brown. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know what Malik is on. Maybe you're right. Maybe he really did love that girl. But according to the pimp, according to Mr. Davidson, that boy was in the stages of obsession. And the last stage was elation and frustration.
Yep.
It's like getting into a fight roller coaster. Self-worth right now is the resolution stage. It's time to move on and take steps to work towards yourself. One step at a time. My son is telling him, these hoes is cheese on the board.
He did not call them. What it is. He did not call them 17 and 18-year-old girls hoes.
He didn't call them that. But I'm just saying that's basically what I feel like he was saying. Like, bro, these girls, let me take that back. I don't mean to call Alexis no hoe. I meant to say these girls is cheese on a board. Meaning they come a dime a dozen. You set the trap, you knock them down, and you move on. College, what is the norm in society for what people say about college? Get it all out while you in college. Do it all while you in college. Get your heart broken in college. This is what it is. It's the norm of society. So why is he focused on one girl? You're supposed to relax, relate.
Look at everybody else in the story. Look at everybody else.
But D-Lo was bunzing. The first time we met D-Lo, he was just finished bunzing dude. You feel me? Had the cheeks walking out.
And then he got with Savant, and that's all he's been with since. But look at all the other characters. You don't hear them, like even in the last book, D-Lo was a little promiscuous, but he was the only character. In Malik's core group, sex doesn't seem to really be their focus. But I do see what you mean. I just think, he really had his heart broken with Alexis, and he's not over her. And Malik is a very sensitive dude. So, but in this chapter, you got what you wanted. He mentions Dom, and then remember Malik says, and he gets a giggly smile on his face.
Exactly. Come on,
he's
now.
like, I see what you're building with Dom. And so I think that he's moving there. He's just a little flaw with Alexis is like they had so much shared history that it wasn't even a big thing to enter into the physical with each other, because like we already knew each other. Like it already feels like it's naturally going to progress to that level. Dom is a completely new person, you know, and he's still hurting over Alexis. And like Ladarrion said, Malik is going to have to make a choice in the next book between Dom and Alexis. So,
you know, I'm team Dom. He need to go ahead with Dom.
I'm just like, my girl Alexis. I gotta know more about what the hell she's been doing first, because I can't champion her. She's still working with the mom and being crazy. I'm like, nah, I can't be with you, girl. But yeah, he is moving on. You are getting your wish, unfortunately.
That's right. I hope
He's
so.
getting
I
all
hope so.
giggly over Dom, and I think that what the therapist was saying, part of it was true. I believe he was very heavily infatuated. Maybe it was obsession, but his point of, Malik, you have to kind of move on. That was the point in all that. Like, you cannot hold on to this. You're gonna have to move on. He even says, I see
part
what you're
trauma.
building with Dominique. You know what I mean? And I'm like, that is true. You know, that is true.
Right.
You know how much I love Alexis. So I'm very, very defensive of their relationship.
It's all good. It's all good.
That's my girl. Like, oh my gosh. I'm like,
it's
please don't move on with Dom. I'm not yet.
And as we get to chapter 30, chapter 30 was real short, wasn't long at all.
Very short.
They just in the dance rehearsal right now, and Dom is feel like Malik is holding back and doesn't want to, like, you know, say the name and open up Malik doesn't want to tell her why, he is why he's feeling that way, because he doesn't want to mention Alexis to her, which will open up a can of worms, which is true. And we find out Serene is sponsoring D-Lo and Savon, and Malik is feeling like they're losing the campaign, because everybody else is racking up votes and talking to the people. And Malik feels is like, if she thinks he's holding her back, and Dom just wants Malik to be there. Because Malik feel like, I'm holding you back from, I'm holding us back right now. And Dom is just like, yo, just be here. Like, just want to be with me. And that's when he plays Beyonce, Why You're Beautiful. And Malik plugged that into his phone. And I'm thinking like, okay, we're about to do that. Malik sets the illusion up as if they in prom and they kind of rotating around, dancing. And I'm like, this is it right here. This is where we're going to get into it. So just imagine Malik. She like, okay, with the illusions, Malik, come through. And, they kind of going around dancing. He got everything set up. And then we just switch. We just go right back. Malik is back in the secretariat. And he's with the tuba, and Malik is back into the book with his spells, conjuring more spells into the book. More of the ancestors come around Malik or whatever the case may be, and they're kind of, he's conjuring them up. And I'm like, so we just switched from we didn't get no real movement with that going on. And I'm like, okay, I'm just going to follow what the book is saying. So as Malik dispels of the faces, the spell goes back on his grimoire again. And he has a connection with the ancestors, is getting stronger with the swirling around his body. They sing to him. And then he teleports into the campus. And as he teleports into the campus, as he's walking around, he sees dead kids on the floor with their magic sucked from them. He sees Terran and Kevon and Keela, and everybody's just fighting. It seems like it's an all-out war. There's death everywhere. The bomb causes everywhere. Probably the Lugawoos is out there. So Malik is picturing like just a whole dead campus. Something happened where the magic broke, and his mother must have been able to get through. And everybody's fighting. Everybody's everywhere. And I'm like, this premonition was crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm like, now we know a war's coming. She's going to get on campus. But the question is, when is she going to get on campus? And it's a whole war on Cayman Unity, and it's about to go down. And that's really how the chapter ended. And I'm like, okay, so Malik sees all these dead people on the ground. The magic is being conjured from them. His mom is there, Terran. Everybody's there. Keela's there. Everybody's there. Everybody's fighting, going against this person. He sees Dom. She falls. She's bleeding. Like, what's happening in this premonition? And then it just cuts off because he comes right back. So I'm like, okay, where we at now? Like, that was the end of the chapter.
That was the end. That chapter was really, really short. Oh my gosh.
It was like 11 minutes. Reading, it was like 11 minutes. Listening, it was like 11 minutes.
I wanted to talk about Dom and Malik. I understood how she felt in this chapter. Like, and I understood how Malik felt as well. Like, he has a lot going on. All the stuff with his mom, the Divani Lamb, and now he does Homecoming. And he did not vote himself as part of Homecoming. They did that. I don't think that he really wants to do it, but it's like he picked Dom because that's the only other person that's the only other female he was even entertaining at the time. And so now she just feels like and because she says that you picked me. So I want you to want us to win. Everybody else is doing what they got to do, and we're sucking because you're not really in it. And I understand where she's coming from, but I mean, imagine everything that he's going through right now. His mind is everywhere. I remember it was a couple chapters ago where he had even said, I got too much other shit to do anyway to be, you know what I mean? So I did feel bad for him, but I agree with you. We just jumped to the Sacratum and they're doing another spell. And I'm going to be honest, I told you, the spells don't make any sense to me. I'm trying to understand, but now he brings a giant cloud of ancestors. And what do they do? Transport him? How does that work? This is a premonition. How does he get premonitions? And that's what I mean when I say the magic in this book feels a little bit overcomplicated, because now it just feels like the author could just write whatever, and that's just what it is. It's not always making perfect sense. Like, it's not always clear. Like, was that a premonition? Like, was this just something that could happen? Since when does Malik get premonitions? And they're looking for a seer, right?
Still.
He's obviously seeing into the future. Like, I don't understand. What do you need a seer for if there's a spell that shows you what's going to happen in the future? So that is what confused me. And then, what do we know about the seer? The ancestors told Tituba about Dom and Malik, but they said nothing about the third person.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so these are just the questions I have as we almost get to the second act, almost get to the end of the second act. I did hear from a lot of reviews that it picks up tremendously when the third act starts, so I really cannot wait to get to it. But yeah, this was a short chapter. I'm really nervous about what's going to happen if that premonition that he had is supposed to come to fruition, because he said the Boncours were killing everyone. It was piles of students dead with a huge hole in the ground. That's scary. You know what I mean?
It's super scary.
And I be thinking, Jay, you know, I know Malik and Dom and Professor are the Divine Elam, and she's teaching him all these things. But what about the other students? Why are they not learning these defensive spells to protect themselves either? That's what I keep wondering. Because I mean,
well, they are in Dr. Akila's class. They are. And remember, Professor Kumale was like sort of like a spells teacher as well, but he don't really go into the schooling like he does, but he doesn't tap all the way into every professor, because we only know about Dr. Davison and Dr. Akila, and then there was like another professor, but it's not a real like how Harry Potter was in like this class. We don't really have that.
They just get kind of a general education, maybe.
You only got 3 books, so you can't really. You know what I'm saying? Harry Potter got 7, 8 books. You know what I'm saying? So it's like you can't really do but so much in 3 books. We're gonna give him some grace. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna give him some grace, and hopefully this connects together. When we come back next week, we'll be talking about the whole book in its entirety from the last 5 chapters of this act until all of Act 3. We'll be getting into it, and hopefully we can make it. I know he's gonna make it make sense in the end, and I'm pretty sure the chapter's gonna pick up. I am excited to see what comes along with this premonition that Malik has when he gets on campus, and I can't wait to finish this book, man, and get to the end so we can anticipate book 3 and whatever the title of that book will be.
Yes, he hasn't dropped the title yet. Like I told you, I pay attention to his socials. I ain't seen it yet, but I think he did say it's going to come out next year, which is something that I really, really love. Like, I hate waiting
for so long.
Yeah, but at least we know that the third book is coming out next year, and I'm with Jay. I have questions right now, but I definitely give this author grace because I'm still enjoying the story. You know that about me. I'm a very detail-oriented reader. My details, that is my thing, and so I get confused very easily when the details are not clicking in my head. But I have full faith, like Jay said, that he's going to bring it together in the third act, and that's what all the reviews said too. It picks up. The third act is crazy, so I cannot wait to get to it.
That's right, man. Thank y'all for tuning in this week, man. She's that reader. I'm just a speaker. Peace.